Malchus that I sent you. It's the Shemayim. It's Hayim de Chodish B'Chadshei from Tafshin Lamates. Let us begin. Hayim de Chodish B'Chadshei Midei Shabbos Shabbatoi. That will be the month, every single month and every single Shabbos. Yabikol Basel Ishtach V'Sofoni. Every flesh will come to bow down before me. That's the haftorah that we say on Shabbos Rish Chodesh. And this is Yeshaya Navi's nevuah about the Mashiach's times, like brought out in other places, not like by these days or in the times of the first base of Mikdash, that where they were Oila Regel just 3 times a year, Sukkot, Pesach, Shavuos, but rather it'd be Oila Regel every month and every Shabbos. This is what my Morial Pasuk said. This is a mimer that was said on the night going into Beis Iyar, this a week from today, Sunday. So that Beis Iyar is the letters of the Reb Marash. He says the Tzarech will have the Reb Marash ask the question: what's the reason that specifically every single month of the month and the Shabbos of the Shabbos? So the Rebbe adds a nuance over here. Chodesh b'chadshei and Shabbos b'shabbatoi doesn't just mean the literal sense every single month, every single Shabbos, but there's chadshei shel chodesh, the newness or the chodesh of the chodesh, and Shabbat shel b'Shabbos and the Shabbos of the Shabbos. So in those times, that's when it's going to be Yavik HaBasal Ishtachvis. Also Yavik HaBasal Ishtachvis Leponai. That's when all flesh will come to bow down before. So that's the reason. That's the question that Marash asks in his Maimer. Why Dafke in the Chodesh of the Chodesh and in the Shabbos of the Shabbos will every flesh come and bow down? It's also known the question that our Rebbeim asked, and this question is brought down. The Alter Rebbe asks this at the beginning of Torah, and not only at the beginning of Torah, but he asks this also at the conclusion of Likutei Torah, which concludes with the Mamorim of Shir HaShirim. He asks this question. The fact that it's at the beginning of Torah at the end of Likutei Torah is very significant, the Rebbe says, because the Tzemach Tzedek was the one that arranged the order of the Amorim that are printed in Torah and Likutei Torah. Therefore, the fact that this question is asked both at the beginning of Torah and at the end of Likutei Torah, that shows a powerful significance to these questions. It's also known, the question asked in the Mamorim of our Rebbe, the Nesim that followed the Alter Rebbe. So they asked about the Psuki Haftorah Shalifnei. They asked on the Psukim of the Haftorah prior to this, that it says, so in the Haftorah of Fresh Chodesh, there's the Psukim prior to this. When it says that every flesh will come to bow down before me, this comes as a continuation to what it says before that at the conclusion of the Nevuah of Yeshaya Navi. And what does it say over there? Like the new heavens and the new earth that I am making are standing before me. In other words, the times of Mashiach is called a time when there'll be like new heavens and new earth. So too, your seed and your name will stand forever. In other words, that the Yidden will be in a very lofty situation when Mashiach comes. And even more so, they ask earlier on the Haftarah, the beginning of the Haftarah. Till they ask about the beginning of the Haftarah. And the beginning of the Haftarah begins, that the heavens are my throne and the earth is my footstool. What home can you build me that will house me? Rather, the Abishah says, you know where I'm housed, you know where I'm found. To this one I will look. El onion ruach, to the poor and low of spirit, v'charid al dvarim, who is trembling on my words. So the Rambam asks, son of love, we need to understand. How is it possible to say about Hashem, my throne and my footstool? The idea of a throne and footstool includes in it the idea that there must be a person with a physical body that takes up space in a throne. A person with physical legs that puts his legs on a footstool. He has no image of a body, no body. Also, when you understand what it says, the new heavens and the new earth. What's the novelty? What's the newness? What's going to be significant and different in the new heavens and the new earth? Top of page 1. This is especially a question based on what the Chazal say al Aposik. This is the histories of the heavens and the earth when they were created. So the Chazal say, there's two ways how the word Toldos can be written in the Torah. It can be written without a vav, it can be written with vavs. So it says Toldos with two vavs. It's Molek, written full. The world was created entirely complete and perfect. How much more so after the coming of Mashiach, speedily in our days. Then there'll be the idea of the fullness of the creation the second time around. It'll be like it says. These are the offspring of Peretz. Peretz is going on the forefather of Mashiach. He's the son of Yehuda from which Mashiach will come. And we say that since he's the forefather of Mashiach, we say it's the word of Horus, that he's breaking through all the boundaries. And that indicates that his Toldos, also written with Toldos, with the Toldos Mole, with two vavs, is B'Shleimus Neisefes, is an additional perfection. That it's such an incomparable addition over what it says that the world was created complete and perfect. That's hinted in the fact that it says told us with above the first time around. Only when Mashiach comes will the world be perfect and a person will be perfect. Therefore, then will be able to be done all the mitzvahs perfectly. That's why it says, when Mashiach comes, we'll do like the mitzvahs of your will. What's the idea that we'll do like the mitzvahs of your will? What's the concept of your will? Your will means to do the mitzvahs perfectly. Why? Why can't we do the mitzvahs perfectly now? Because the Rebbe in other places elaborates upon this. We are imperfect until Mashiach comes. And also, all the items with which we do the mitzvahs in the world are also imperfect. When the world will be told as Mole, will reach the ultimate perfection. So we will be perfect, and the objects that we use to do the mitzvah will be perfect as well. So therefore, we'll be able to do Eila Tolos in such a way of the perfection of the mitzvahs. And despite the fact that when Mashiach comes, they're going to be able to be this type of perfection still in all it says. It says that there's an additional novelty and uniqueness. There's another chiddush that will be when Mashiach comes, that then we will have there'll be a new heavens and a new earth over and beyond what we said before about the Toldos Mole, about the perfection and the completion of the world that will happen when Mashiach comes. And so that's Indian, and after this, the pasuk adds another concept. So your seed and your name will stand. That we also say this idea that Shazel Ilui Gadol Yosef, that will be an even greater advantage, an even greater level of something beyond Shamayim Achadoshim V'Aretz Kadosh. In other words, first of all, there's Elotolis Peretz, that there's a level of the world will be in the level of perfection, higher than perfection of creation. Then on top of that, there'll be Hashemayim Achadoshim V'Aretz Kadosh. Then there will be Kein Yamid Zarach V'Shimchem. And we're saying that your children will be similar to the greatness of the heavens, the new heavens and the new earth. Will be Zarach V'Shimchem will be also greater. Question is, what is that additional advantage, that additional quality over what we had before? So let's go at least into the next ice, just to open up a little bit the topic of Chassidus. So line 19, page Vav, ice base. Do a beer bezet, no explanation on this. And by first prefacing, in the Shemayim V'Aretz, the general idea of the heavens and the earth. Concerning the heavens and the earth, it says, in the beginning, the Eibusha created the heavens and the earth. It includes all the matters of all the worlds entirely, and the whole chain order of descent, both in place and in time. That includes also the time of Mashiach, well, it will be the new heavens and the new earth. So we're saying that really the whole idea of Shemayim V'Aretz, everything, including what's going to be when Mashiach comes, was already included in the creation. And not only that, again, we're talking here about the heavens and the earth. What we are going to draw down eventually, that from the level that we're saying that the heavens are Hashem's footstool, and the heavens are Hashem's throne, and the earth is His footstool, meaning very high levels in the spiritual realms of heavens and earth. So all of that will be drawn down in the future. How does that be drawn down? So the Rebbe says it's related to what it says further. Through acting in a way of being poor and bottle and low of spirit, and being careful about my words and trembling for my words. Till we'll come to a level of the new heavens and the new earth. So all of these things that were already included in Bereshis Bara Elokim, calls it totally Maseinu of Yisenu. All of this is dependent upon our actions and our service that will be when Mashiach comes. Maimer Chazal say Bereshis. Why does it say Bereshis with a base? So the base hint at two things which are called Bereshis, for which the Eibusha created the heavens and the earth. B'shvil Yisrael shenikru Reishis, b'shvil HaTorah shenikras Reishis. For the sake of the Yidden that are called first and beginning, and for the sake of the Torah which is called first, sheb'shvilam hem hashamayim va'aretz, that for their sake, for the sake of the Yidden, and for the sake of the Torah, were created and were made the Shemayim V'Aretz, including all these levels of Shemayim V'Aretz that we now included. Like all the details, the specifics, and also like all the general things that are included in heavens and earth, are all a result of Yidden and the Torah. So that means everything that Shemayim V'Aretz will have is all dependent upon the Yidden. Though concerning the new heavens and the new earth. It says that I make. Why does it have to say Hashemayim that when Mashiach comes, there's going to be Hashemayim HaChadoshim V'Aretz HaChadosha Asher Ani Oisa? Does it say other things? I will bring Mashiach, or I will. What? Why over here is the emphasis Shemayim Chadoshim V'Aretz Chadosha Asher Ani Oisa? The Eibishter says that I am making. So the Rebbe explains, Hainu. This indicates that it's a place that is so high that the inspiration from down here below, our avodah, that cannot reach over there. That's why the emphasis is Asher Ani Oisa. You're not doing it. Klal Yisrael is not doing it. You don't accomplish this. This is something that's being accomplished because of me. I am the one that's doing it. Still in all, how do you do it? On this level itself, it says that the Eibishter does not reside only in a complete and perfect place, meaning that even those levels that one cannot attain through our Yisrus Sato, it only comes by a Surusul Elah, by an inspiration from above, but it says one still needs to prepare the place and make it ready. If it's not an Asar Shlim, if it's not a perfect location, if it's not a situation that's like inviting for the king to come over there, he won't come, even though it's the king's choice to come. We don't drag the king in, but we need to make the place a place that's ready for it. So the same thing, Chassidus explains, even an Isirusa Sato that is beyond our Isirusa Elah, even that, we have to make an Asar Shlim for it. We have to make a perfect place, an inviting place for it. So the same thing over here, when we talk about that the Shamayim Chadoshim V'Aretz Chadosha is Asher Ani Oisa, that Hashem is the one that's doing the Shamayim and Aretz Chadosha. Still, we are still the ones through Maseinu, Avodaseinu, and Meshach Managolos that are at least laying the groundwork and making that possibility of the Eibishter to come down and create that level of Shamayim Chadosh and Aretz Chadosh. Then move on. So this understood. Even what it says that I am doing, the Eibishter is doing, it's connected with your seed and your names. When it says it doesn't just mean what's going to happen, but it's also referring to what was there beforehand, the avodah that preceded it, the avodah of the Yidden that will precede it. That these matters of what we do are preparation, and a close preparation. Now, preparation is only a preparation, but it's not like a cause. Then the Rebbe says it's more than a preparation, and more than a close preparation, v'gam siba, and also a cause. Linyanim shenikroim shemayim chadoshim v'aretz chadosha. The matters are called new heavens and a new earth. V'adli linyanim asher ani oisa, until matters that it says that I am making. The kivin shekol calls that kosher Torah of Yisrael. Since all of this is connected with Torah and Yidden, how they move, so it's understood. Shehein be Yisrael, vehein b'Torah. Whether we're talking about Yidden Klal Yisrael, whether in Torah, yeshnam gam shnei aprotim v'aklolim d'shamayim b'aretz. There's also both details and both general things of heavens and earth. There's heavens and earth in Yidden, and there's heavens and earth in Torah. And we said there's two levels of heavens and earth. Heavens and earth, the way they were created, and then heavens and earth, the way it's going to be when Mashiach comes, the new heavens and the new earth. Both the heavens and the earth, the way they were initially at the beginning of creation, is to be found in Yidden and in Torah. And there's also the heavens and the earth, the way they'll be later on, in a way of new heavens and a new earth, that this is something that's going to be completely new is to be found even now in the Yid, those two levels, and even in Torah is to be found those two levels. I didn't even begin to explain any of this. But if you have questions, please don't ask questions about what he's going to explain. Any questions? Okay, we're holding page Zion, Ois Gimel, line 22. The idea behind this is the general difference between heavens and earth in the service of Yitrei B'shter, meaning within the way in the Yid service today, B'shter, as he says, Tefillah's idea of rushing towards God, pulling towards Hashem. That's the idea of heavens. The Ilu Torah mitzvah, as opposed to Torah and its mitzvahs, Nikroim b'chlolos b'shem eretz, are in general called earth. Why is it called earth? Because the Torah is not in heaven, as many times it's emphasized. That is even the study of Torah. It cannot be determined by a baskel. It has to be determined after by a human being down here. Malachas kama v'kama mitzvahs shekiyumam kosher minyonim hazadavka. How much more so with mitzvahs that their fulfillment is connected with matters of this world specifically. So matters of this world specifically, those are things that are connected specifically with Aretz. Top of page Ches, or Pratis Yos, and even more specifically, there's a difference between Torah mitzvahs itself. Though the Torah is not in the heavens, from there, from the heavens, it traveled and descended. Like it says, that from the heavens I spoke with you. So before he made the difference between davening and Torah and mitzvahs. Now he's going to make a difference between Torah and mitzvahs itself. That means that Torah is similar to the level of heavens. Shamayim larum, the heavens to be the highest, which of course, like it says in the pasuk, Haloi kaidvari, behold, this is are my words. That it's the words of Hashem, Gam kifisha nosav yardav, and it says lamati, even the way the Torah traveled and descended and is found down here, it still retains its godly state in its pure, pristine state. Ilum mitzvahs in yonam udavke ba'ifrish v'tzorich lasses film b'klav gashmi v'tzitzah b'tzamer gashmi, as opposed to mitzvahs. What is the idea behind it? That they have to be done specifically in a manner of tefillin with physical parchment and tzitzis with physical wool. Al-derech zebachal mitzvahs is similar to this in all the mitzvahs. Until mitzvahs are in a way that's measured and limited, that they're bounded mitzvahs, they have time constraints and sizes and so on. Like it's explained in Tanya, that most mitzvahs have a very constricted and sheer measurement. As opposed to the Torah, its measure is longer than the earth and it's broader than the sea. So therefore, in that regard, Torah is similar to the heavens, and the mitzvahs is similar to the earth and earthiness that's limited. So just like in Torah mitzvahs itself, we find that the Shemayim part of Torah mitzvahs and the Aretz part of Torah mitzvahs, the same thing in davening, will also find the Shemayim part of davening versus the Aretz part of davening. Line 13, similar to this navoid of davening itself. Though davening in general is the idea of rotzi and drawing to the Eibishter, the Kriyash Mashma, there's still the distinction between Kriyashma and the Tfilas Hamida, the Kriyashma, and that doesn't just limit itself to Kriyashma itself, but Vinyanim Shalifnei Zashem Hagdama Kriyashma, and all the matters prior to it. That's an introduction and a preface and leading into Kriyashma. Inyan Rotz Lamaylam, Its idea is rushing higher and higher, going up higher and higher, Shemaim, the level of heaven. With a great love, until unbelievable great love, like all the levels and all the ascents in it. But that is all the Ratzui as it's expressed in Krishna. Afterwards, it comes to such a state and situation, they standing like a servant before his master. That's in the tefillah of davening of Shemin Esra to Inyan Eretz. That's the level of Eretz. That's he's standing like a servant before his master. He is, instead of being oila, he's just like still. He's unmoving. He's like a diamond. Also, one could say, perhaps in other places that I've mentioned, because a lot of the davening Shemin Esra has to do with Lamata Masar Tvachim, with Malchus, and that we're asking for physical things in this world. Then I'm not concerning this. It says that the heavens are my throne and the earth are my footstool. I know this means through the matters of Shemayim. I'm sorry. The Shemayim Nasa Inyan the Kiss. Top of page test. Through those things that we enumerated before are the levels of Shemayim, davening, Torah. So these accomplish and these make by Hashem the idea of a chair, of a throne. What does it mean it makes by Hashem an idea of a throne? It says, line 1, the idea of sitting on a throne and on a chair. What's the idea behind it is, through sitting down, the head of the one that's seated is lowered below. It's the idea of drawing down godliness from above to below. That's accomplished through Torah study, the level of heaven. What's the idea behind it is, the idea of Torah is, like we said before, from the heavens I spoke to you. So it's idea about bringing down from above to below. And the earth being my footstool. The idea of mitzvahs is bringing up things from below to above. One takes a worldly matter, that's measured and bounded, and you're raising it up, you're making it something holy. Till you make it in the way of a command and a joining together. That's the meaning of the word mitzvah, like we know, joined together with Hashem. Till that's being joined completely with Hashem's very essence. That He sanctified us in His mitzvahs and He commanded us. So this shizel bedugmas hadoim. That's similar to hadoim shua shrafraf. It's a footstool. Shemamidim tachas raglei hayoshev. We place it under the foot of the one that's sitting. What does it do to the feet? It takes the feet and it raises it. That it says, like bia raglaim ala oretz, to elevate the feet from the earth. That's the ascent and elevation that's accomplished through the fulfillment of mitzvahs. The general idea of the heavens are my throne, and the earth is my footstool. It's like the literal creation of the heavens and the earth. Why was the heavens and the earth created? For the Yidden. That they're standing in their service in a way of rushing towards the Eibishter and returning. They're pulling towards the Eibishter and then pulling back. But that's a general idea of avodah. That comes in general, the avodah of the study of Torah and doing mitzvahs. Torah, we said, is heavenly, so they're pulling upwards. Mitzvahs is down to earth, so they're drawing down to earth. It's now in the Shemayim V'aretz. That's the idea of heavens and earth. the way it's in more detail in the division between Torah versus mitzvahs. You have the heavens and the earth. Stop over here. Any questions?